How's it going, everyone? Happy Monday. Welcome back to the show. Got a banger for you today. A quick one, but chock full of information. We're going to go over downloadable data, new project as well, and Colin's got a lot of stuff to talk about. So without further ado, welcome back to the show. Crypto Colin, how's it going, sir?
What's going on? Yeah, it's been a while. I think we had a stream planned, but I've been working. It's I think it's the time, right, when you're at the lows, get everything built out, set up. So when you have like the mass adoption for PulseChain and you have everyone start to like you have the mass inflows, you're all like good to go, set up and ready. So
Yeah,
that's sort of where I'm at. I'm sure you're in a similar boat. Probably a lot of the people watching as well. Just like getting sorted out, and then doing the work now because I think it's not too late by the time like the prices are up. But if you are like if you're capitalizing on the time that the prices are down and you're getting that work done, because I notice, and I guess we're getting a little bit into it, but I notice like when the prices are up, I usually watch a bit more like crypto, pay attention to it a little bit more,
yeah,
um, and like try and find new opportunities relative to where like when the price is down. But I don't know, even if like kind of like what we're gonna talk about in a minute with like the tooling and stuff, building out your own applications. It doesn't have to be a crypto like token, but you can still do like projects within crypto. Um, so yeah,
yeah.
I like what you've done a lot with the downloadable data. That's it's for the people, right? So
Boom. Downloadable data. Yeah, kind of a pun off of downloadable DeFi. Put the tweet in the chat as well. But yeah, this is a collection of script. Again, shout out Crypto Kong. He's been helping me test and go through and see what's broken and what works for the last few weeks and stuff now. So really appreciate you taking the time and just being like, okay, like, what's interesting? What can we look at? I know there's probably a ton of ideas for other stuff as well, but yeah, quick introduction, and then we'll get into a little bit how it works, and we'll move on as well. But yeah, anyone wants to use it? And what it also delayed this stream a little bit. I was wanting to make a UI for it, and yeah, I just kind of ran out of time, and I stopped working on it for a while, take a break from it. But these are essentially a set of scripts, well documented here, like how they work, get token holders, get contract transactions, get liquidity, volume, all that stuff. I kind of put them here, like some of the things you can do with these, this contribution to the ecosystem, free, public, all pulled from public sources. I'll talk a little bit about how that works in a second. But yeah, get token holders, transactions, contract calls, burn tokens, liquidity, volume, the distribution around the dexes. Maybe if Kong wants to like fire one off that's working on Windows in a moment to show you like how to do it, that'd be awesome as well. If you've got it set up and stuff, but also which tokens have holders in common with other tokens. I think it's interesting to see, of this community, which communities they have in common. Shout out to Crypto Kool-Aid, by the way. He also gave me some ideas for from different scripts and stuff before as well, or some interesting things that founders, community people can use. And that's what this really. It's really not just for the core coins. It's for like the entire. If there's a coin, there's a contract, whatever on PulseChain, whether it's HEX, or whether it's Pulse, whether it's GIF, or whether it's Tetra, or whatever your favorite coin is, and all that stuff. You can use these scripts to like figure out how to pull data from it, and then use that. It's got some different visualizations and things as well. So yeah, just trying to make, like you said, in the when the prices are down, we getting more primed, giving the ecosystem, working on things that are useful for the ecosystem. And again, this is like doesn't have any API keys, none of that stuff. Some of the things that it uses, for example. Yeah, this one actually for the burn tokens, it pulls from RPC, so it pulls from the blockchain. I think. Let's see, actually, let me make sure because it's got the scan API in here as well. Do I use both? I'm trying to think. Oh, I probably do use both. I probably get maybe I get some. Okay, so I get some of the values from the blockchain, and then what do I use? Yeah, sorry, just going through the code. I forget. They use different resources for different pieces on this as well. So what I use Scan API for. Maybe I just do use blockchain for this one. searching through the different burn addresses and stuff. Yeah, so we got just listed a couple burn addresses and trying to get the value of tokens in them. So yeah, blockchain is a resource. I kind of listed them here, but I'll go through a couple examples. So blockchain, block explorers, for example, get common holding. Let's see, what does it use? It uses scan API. So if you go to realdefi.com, click explore, or go to scan.pulsechain.com and use that link as well. But you can there's an API here, so the REST API, and you can see that it's just v2, and it's calling the different APIs to figure out like what are and comparing the different wallets and holders and all that stuff too. And then it's also using Dex Screener. So for the volume and liquidity, it's just literally looking at Dex Screener, looking at the token address, pulling data from there, doing analysis on it, and all that stuff too. So this is Dex Screener example. Yeah, that's a little bit of how each one. I mean, they pull things from different ways. Some data is harder to get to than others, and kind of had to like do some programming around that. But yeah, we got Kong. Has this been how have you been using it? That's what I'm gonna ask you. Like, how have you been using it? Like, how does it has it fueled any of the analysis you've had for any of the coins? And then like I know we've been working on it back and forth too, and at some point maybe there'll be a UI that'll like, instead of using command line, you can just open your web browser like a node, like downloadable DeFi stuff of HEX apps and stuff. They're like little web browsers that you can like talk to the blockchain, but this will be talking to the scripts type of thing in the future. But yeah, what do you think is interesting about it so far? What people can use it for?
So I guess some of my main implementations, if you like looking at PulseScan and stuff, and you're having some issues, like whether it's your device or if it's a VPN or a browser, or like sometimes it'll load and then I'll refresh it, does not load anymore. Things like this, I've been like, this is useful because usually I don't need like, I'm not going to say it's fluff because it's good data points on the block explorer, but sometimes I just need some like concise information. And like it makes it a bit easier. Like, and I guess like if you're counting the button clicks, like you could arguably run these scripts faster and pull some of the data faster than if you were to like open up a browser, go to like Richard Hart's website and then click on another link to go to the IPFS link. So just having like I don't know, it's useful for having like the quick shortcut to sort of unlock some data points. I don't mind sharing my screen and going over sort of like how to run it a little bit as well. So
yeah, feel free.
Yeah, I'm gonna set up my system a little better here so I'm not doing anything too bad. But let me just get everything set up properly. All right. So it should be like if you already know how to program, and if you're already sort of familiar with like running code and stuff, it's pretty intuitive. Like it's nothing new. There's nothing crazy. What I just recommend is when you want to be on the GitHub. I can pull that up right here as well. So you just want to click on this little code button and then download the zip. You'll get the download in whichever system you're using.
But by the way, you're showing hexfire.io right now.
Okay, let me present this so I can do so I'm sharing my whole window. There we go. That should be a lot better, right?
Okay, yeah.
All right. So yeah, here's the GitHub. You would just want to download the zip. I just got this link from RHMax's Twitter. I assume most of you guys know how to click a link on Twitter, so I'm not gonna just quickly go over that. But this, like, you just download the zip. It'll pop up in like your download menu. Open it up in your whatever file explorer you're using. Probably just like the one already like on your OS. And then make sure you extract all the files from the zip. If you don't know how to do that, there's probably tutorials online and stuff, but I'm sure most of the people watching are familiar with that. And then what you want to make sure you do is when you have the command line, or sorry, when you have the setup, and I'll pull that up here. So I have a few different scripts here, and I'm just hiding some of my files as well. So it might look a bit different compared to like if you're using Windows, but I guess it's pretty much the exact same thing on Mac. But this is just if you're using Windows, how I would set it up. So I'm gonna go into these scripts. I'll go into downloadable data. You want to go into setup if this is your first time using it, and you want to like how I did it is you probably just want to click this. It's going to tell you you need to run it as an administrator. Then you want to right click it and then run it as an admin, and that'll just install all of the dependencies. It's probably well documented on the GitHub as well, but yeah, that'll essentially give you all like the libraries you need to run some of the scripts and stuff.
And
if Max,
just real quick,
go ahead.
if you're nervous about running a script as admin, open it up, look at the code, paste the code in ChatGPT, ask what it does. Obviously, it's nothing malicious going on or otherwise. But yeah, always be careful when you're doing that. But with this, yeah, you can clearly read the code. You can see it's installing Python. It's installing the different libraries and just getting your computer set up to actually run a Python script, such as the ones that Kong is showing you.
And that is a very good point. Windows will also warn you, like it's not like I think it says it's an untrusted developer. Max is probably very trustworthy. Crypto is ideally like you don't want to trust people. But this is why you can verify it yourself, like Max was saying. If you don't know how to read the code, ask ChatGPT. I don't think it's gonna tell you no, there's nothing malicious if there is something malicious in there. And it'll probably find which like I've looked over it. Like I don't think Max is throwing out malware into the open like this, but yeah, definitely make sure if you're running something like as an administrator, you want to make sure that you want to make sure that you verify what you're doing and that you actually know what you're doing. And you might get a warning from Windows as well. You'll just have to click run anyways, and then click run again, and then it'll install everything. You click like whatever key to exit it, and it'll tell you if you have any issues, just restart your system. But how to actually get started, and you can see these documents will pop up as you start using the scripts. If you know how to just open up your like terminal or your command prompt or whatever, and you know how to get to like the right path for your scripts to run it, you can do so. If you don't know what I'm talking about, it probably doesn't apply to you. The easiest thing that I recommend is just typing in CMD into here, and that'll open up like a control panel window that is already in the correct path of the scripts. Because if you're not in the correct path, scripts they'll not execute properly. So I'll show you. I've done some executions here. I'll grab the command from the GitHub. So this is how I would do it. I would let's get the burned tokens. Let me double check. Yeah, get burned tokens. You can see here I've ran it a couple times, test like kind of like a test to make sure it works. But I'll just paste in exactly what I got from Max's GitHub directly into the terminal. I think this is probably the easiest way to do it. There's probably a million ways to get to the same result. But if you just are looking to run it, click enter. I think usually it takes a few seconds. You can see it popped up with all of the pretty much new data points, right? You can see here 589. This was 41,939. This was 41,940. So you can see it's updated now. The burn percentage is still roughly the same, and like you can see it right here. And I appreciate like an implementation like this, because it is like for things like ICOSA and stuff. I know, I think there's other resources and stuff where you can find like burn details out there, but having something like this and being able to like go and like check, it might actually be faster than going to any of the other sort of like data providers, right? And just having having something, I think, on your system is extremely valuable to sort of like talk to the blockchain and stuff. But yeah, I think that is that's my quick tutorial on how I would go about running the scripts. If Max says, maybe he says I'm missing something or
No,
anything like
do
that.
no, so that's the get burn tokens, and then that one just kind of outputs the the amount of burn tokens. That's actually one of most of the other ones will output like a CSV file with like a line, like if you're doing like if you contact transactions or token holders, all that stuff, it'll output like literally like the full a full file. Could be hundreds, thousands of lines of different transactions or holders or otherwise, and format it. And then you can take that output and put it in other different tools and ask GPT to plot it for you on a graph or something too. So yeah, I think that's that was a good example. That's just one piece where it's kind of like, okay, being able to take this data, use it in a way that can help you understand things better otherwise. That's what it's about. So I put on there no expectations, but if you have anyone has any other ideas for scripts or tools or access to data, I've tried a few different ones. Some of them are harder to do than others. And some of them I have like, kind of like, oh, maybe I'll circle back to this at some point. But those are a few that I thought were hard to get to by just, or I got to flip through 100 pages on a block explorer to get all this data when, if we could just query the page or API and put it all out in a file that could be reused. That's one piece. So anyways, that's all I got on that.
And maybe
some demo.
I might test some other, not test, but I'll maybe on stream I'll show some of the other scripts as well. Just so we can get a little bit of probably a little bit of an idea. But I have one running right now. I haven't waited for it to complete. It might take quite a while, so we might move on to the next one. If you wanna put up my screen as well. Here I also have the it's fetching the token holders for Hedron, so it tells you right off the bat like how many token holders there are, and you'll see it's I think it's gathering more data points, and I think it's gonna, once it's completed, it'll like print out the file into your like where your scripts are at. But
actually, you can look at it. You should be printing them out one at a time. If you want to pull up the file, you should be able to see a few lines actually.
All right. Here.
It won't be complete, but you'll be able to see like the format. Yeah. There you go. So if it's a really old as in like 2 years. If it's like got a lot of holders, a lot of transactions, whatever, then it may take a long time for it to pull all the data. For example, Hedron, apparently got a lot of holders. It'll give you. Yeah, go ahead. Go on.
Yeah, it'll give you pretty much all their addresses, or like all the holders and all their addresses and their balances. This is also cool to see. Like, I guess if there's new tokens coming out, and I personally, I haven't tested it on a brand new token. Maybe like Max has like, because I don't know if it's like a validator thing or if it's like I think it's a pulse scan related problem. If Max has, like, if you want to clarify that.
For getting the data?
In terms of like brand new, like, getting pulse scan to like update from like data from 2 seconds ago, let's say. Like, it doesn't seem like it's very...
Yeah, so I think they do have like indexing. So basically it'll try to, all the block explorers and stuff, they try to index data, like the way some of them work. They'll try to take data from the blockchain and then keep it up to date every so often, like through indexing. And sometimes, maybe the scan sites or otherwise, maybe they're not, the cache or the indexing isn't up to date, or they run on a certain cadence, and everything's not so instant. So depends on which source you're pulling from. Like, I can't remember where this one's pulling from, but it depends on the source and how often it's updated and stuff. But this may, if you're trying to look at this on the scan website, right? If you look at all the holders and stuff, you're gonna be looking through a bunch of different pages and all that, right? You're gonna be like clicking through and like scrolling. This is like this will give you, all the data just there into a file. And then again, you can take that data and then go plot it or go run up further analysis on it too.
And like it's very useful. Like I was saying, it's probably faster than PulseScan. Most definitely look faster than PulseScan. And it sounds like you're able to, like, it sounds like it's able to update faster than PulseScan. Like, would I be wrong in saying something like that?
If it's so, is this get token holders, or is this
token holders?
Okay, get token holders. So let me see what it's actually using. So it's using it's actually using the API at the scan. So whatever scan has, it's going to have, but it's going to give you the ability to get it like all in one chunk instead of having to flip through the pages and all this stuff, because it's using the API, not the web site itself. Right. It's like using the API as exposed.
And I think you mentioned like some of the scripts, they're using like the actual, like the RPC URL endpoints, right? So that they have a lot more like direct communication.
Yeah, so some of them are using the actual RPCs, getting the blockchain data. Some of them are using other websites, such as Dex Screener APIs, and some of them are actually, I think for contract calls, I was using OtterScan, but like I literally had to parse the web page because I don't think there is an API. I'm not sure if they exposed one or it's not public or something. So I'm actually having to had to write a helper script to read the website, to then parse the data and flip through each page to get each transaction and each method. And yeah, that one was like a messy to do. Yeah, it was like a lot of work to do in testing, but I finally got it. But then I think I ran it the other day, and I'm not sure if OtterScan was having, if they were like in maintenance mode or like were down for a minute or something, because even going to the website, I kind of want to check it now. Even going to the website and trying to look at a transaction, I couldn't, the script wasn't working. I was like, oh, why is the script not working? And then I went to the website and tried it myself, and I could not get it to flip through pages. I was like, oh, maybe because the site was, they were re-indexing or something. So sometimes it's not even, if the scripts don't work, like they're just not pulling all the data, it may be because the source they're pulling it from may be down or re-indexing, or they changed something and it broke the script. So hopefully we won't have to update them too much. But anyways, awesome, man. Yeah, thanks for going through it, and hopefully people will find them useful as well. I'm kind of curious to see if anyone comment that they're using them for some kind of like data analysis, or they're like building new charts, or educational purposes. No guarantee of accuracy of data, like they're just pulling it from different sources. But hopefully this gives people a way of getting information that wasn't obvious before, and now it's like, oh, there's a script that does that. The community can kind of use that.
I think there's other use cases, right? Like I guess you could probably implement these scripts into like your own personal project you're building, and like even having that, it might add complexities that like might not be absolutely necessary. But if you if you want to leverage it, you could probably find like more and more implementations as like, and I guess it's open source, so people they're free to like comment on the repositories and stuff. And I think Max has said like it's no expectations or anything like that. So yeah, no expectations. But and even if like this could also be a bit of a bootstrap, like if you need something a little bit more nuanced, and it's just like one little particular thing, you could also build on top and have your own implementations. And then even if like you share it back to the people, like maybe it's useful for others as well. So I think there's a lot of different ways you could use this. Even if like, let's say you had a certain address and they were dumping a certain token and you wanted to sort of like track their balances a little, you could, right? Like you could get that sort of like, you'd have to run the script a couple of different times and like have that like completion. But there's probably implementations that are a little bit more nuanced, right? So, but yeah, I think maybe I'll just like kind of share as well. Like he also has all the liquidity data and stuff. So and you can see like in the notes it sort of looks like this. I also ran the get token liquidity, and you can see, um, yeah, it just prints out the total liquidity, and the pie charts have been saved into the file, right? So, I would say it's pretty simple, like pretty easy. This is, yeah, it's doing its thing. I'll probably just like let it sit in the background. But yeah, other than that, like, do you think there's anything we're missing?
I think that's good. Yeah. Yeah. I looked at the Dex distribution. I think it's pretty interesting too to see where the liquidity is and all that. So yeah, it's got metrics and
Yeah.
stuff on that. Other than that, we got 30 minutes, man. You got some stuff to talk about, I think.
Yeah. I think maybe I'll start with Hex, and we'll go over. I might talk a little bit about Bitcoin and Ethereum. Um, I th- we'll, we'll go over a lot of the data points, but I think it's going to be quite interesting to see how the volatility plays out on some of the blue chip large caps. Not that Hex isn't a blue chip large cap, but like I you could call them the ETF tokens, right? So
ETF coins. Yeah.
yeah, the ETF coins. So yeah, I'm gonna be paying attention to those, to sort of like the main boys a little bit more, as of right now, because I think, like we've always said, Pulse Chain, it is leverage on ETH. So if ETH isn't doing too hot, and we're gonna talk about it, it looks like there's, at least in the liquidity, how I'm looking at it, it looks like there's like a bottom, like they're very, what I'll say is a very good support, um, and it doesn't look like, it doesn't look too bad, right? It's not all doom and gloom, but what I will say is that like right as of recently, I think we've had, like, we Bitcoin moved off of 51K. Now we're trading. Last time I was looking like 56 or 57,000. Um, so yeah, we've moved up a little bit in the past couple of days, but I've seen hands, and I've seen a lot of people become a little bit more bearish, rather than back in like March, where I think a lot of people were, they were a lot more bullish. But I'm gonna start with Hex, and then I'll try and power through a ton of data points and cover as, hopefully, as many things as we can.
Do
Um,
you, do you think the people need a reminder of Rocketship and Destiny and Glory and all that stuff? Do you feel like it's like one of those times where everyone's like, do something. Was this a good idea? When the price go up, you know?
and it's a good point. Like, I think people, like, I've seen it on Twitter. They've said like, and I don't know if it's true, and it could be, but they've said like they shouldn't, like, they regret investing in Hex. It was like the worst decision of their lives. They would have been better off doing this, that, or the third. Um, and some of these people are probably trolls, um, and some of them are probably not. Um, but
Just want to put
what,
this picture. Like I was looking at Twitter. It's like, oh, that's a good picture to frame the conversation.
yeah,
Just the picture itself.
yeah. I mean, I saw a GIF with that going around as well. Like Richard, just like, I think people were like reposting that under some haters and stuff. But um, I think there's going to be exciting news coming up as well with Pulse Chain. Maybe that's also another good sort of introduction. I think with the court date and stuff, Nuclear Herbs is, he's a good guy to follow. But he has his, like, he has his thoughts and his opinions on the court case and stuff, and I like where he's coming from. I'm probably a bit biased because, like, I'm here, um, but I think Richard, he has pretty strong arguments. Like, I don't think they're weak arguments, and he has a good team as well. We're probably gonna see some good news, or some news in general, come out of some of these court dates coming up. I think in October, right? So pretty shortly here. Um, but I, like, Richard said it, and I think he's still saying it. Like, he like kind of brags about calling the top still. He like posts some charts and stuff, like, Like Bitcoin's still down from his top call, however many days ago. But Richard said it countless times, like he's here for the glory. Um, and I think we can all kind of see Richard like I think he's a genuine guy. Like I don't think he means what he says, and he does what he says he's gonna do. And this is proven itself. He has a track record. It's not like he's it's not like he's some random guy who popped up in at the top of 2021 and said, "Hey, I made this token. You guys should do this." And then on top of that, like the t-shirt and the whole like idea and the whole principle, and even the design aspect of the inflation model of that whole system, like you don't think of that for no reason, right? Like you don't nobody thinks of that in general unless you're a genius, right? And if you are if you are like if you build something like this, like it's not like it's not your hobby. Like I think it's your goal is to help the people and give them an alternative um to the fiat system. And I think it's too early. It's too early to count PulseChain out. I shared some stats on my Twitter a while back about Ethereum and stuff versus PulseChain, but PulseChain or Ethereum went from about 10,000 daily active users, where PulseChain is about right now, and it took I think over 600 days for Ethereum to get to 100,000 daily active users. So um to kind of put that in perspective, like it's not like Ethereum got 100,000 daily active users in 9 months, right? And it was just this and this is how it should be, and this is the norm, right? Like this is how it should work. It took Ethereum 700 days, and that's one of your blue chip, like that's one of your blue chips, right? So I think PulseChain, like Richard said, like a what was it, 52 weeks to shake out the weekends. And there's probably some truth to that. I know it's been a little bit longer than that, but the thing about the PLS price, it's getting to the point where like it's becoming almost like not an obvious buy, because I don't like, I'm not, it's not financial advice, I'm not telling people what to do, but the price is becoming so low where like the DCAs are like they're getting, it's tempting to make them a bit bigger now, right? And I think a lot of the pulse chain people are like this as well, and even some of the smart money, like people who don't necessarily care about all the drama and all the antics, but just care about like past performance, track record, like the hex chart. I guess the hex chart got demolished a little bit on when Richard said you shouldn't stake it, or you shouldn't do whatever with it. But I think he's here for the long term. That's sort of like my opinion. And I think I think he's also genuine. And like I said, nobody develops this for no reason. The idea has always been like change the money, change the world, and it hasn't changed, right? So, yeah, I think like we're obviously going through a period of downtime. But what I will say is that like if you were in RH tickers, like things like incentive, uh, your gains were quite good, like compared to the market and stuff. Um, I don't think Solana did a 30x. It might have, yeah, it might have done a 15x, somewhere around there. Maybe like if you get the exact bottom and you measure it from the exact top, maybe it did a 20x or something like that. But PulseChain, in those PLS tickers, they continued to outperform, right, to the upside and to the downside a little. And we've always said volatility is the price you pay for the best performing asset, right? It's not going to be easy. To like the 1000x isn't supposed to be easy, and I'm not saying PulseChain's going to do a 10,000x, 1000x, 100x, 10x. Like it's not financial advice, but what I am saying that however much it goes up, like it's not going to be easy for someone to capture all that value, right? Um, and if it was, everyone would do it. And I Sami brings up great points as well. It's like when Hex bottomed, like there wasn't very much volume at all. Like at the bottom, and I forget the exact number, but it was in the thousands, right? Maybe it was around 10,000, but I don't even think it was that much. Like I think it was in like the few thousands, or maybe it was even the few hundreds. Um, so nobody was paying attention. Everyone called Richard a scammer, and sort of the same things happening right now. Like if you think about it, like go watch all the old streams, you'll have countless people Richard's interviewing calling him a scammer, and he's just standing in front of the mic saying, "Oh yeah, like what about this?" Like Peter McCormick. I always bring up that guy because like I think he I don't want to say, but he didn't look good. Like it didn't look good for him on that stream, and I think Richard looked a lot, even though he's outraged. Like I think he looked like he's a lot well mannered, compared to Peter, and he was like Richard looked like he was trying to at least have a conversation. Peter was there just like attacking, and I think that's been a common theme with PulseChain. And we've always, I don't want to say this the wrong way, but I think we've always kind of proved haters wrong to an extent, and
Yeah,
we've always been able to show the price chart. So
you got a good point too of like maybe it is cyclical in like scammer, God, scammer. Are we due for God again? Are we due for genius again? Are we due for replace it with whatever whatever your best image of Richard is? Just using those examples, but like it is one of those things. Like man, it feels. I always describe it as it is unreasonable that we don't get to glory. It is unreasonable. It's not. There's no certainties. There's nobody, really knows anything. But I think it's unreasonable the way we're set up, the way the founders, values are, and all that stuff. So, hoorah!
that's a good point. Like the probability aspect. Nobody knows for sure, right? Like nothing's 100%. Like I guess like people say taxes and death, right? Those are the only your only guarantees. Um, but yeah, so nobody knows with Richard and stuff. But if you were to go like probabilities or possibilities, like I definitely think it is a lot more probable that like the ideals get carried on, Hex becomes somewhat successful. Richard does everything he says he's gonna do, like he's been doing for the past however long he's been doing it. Like he says he's been giving good deals since he was like 20 years old working in the car stereo store. So um
That's one quote he said. He said, "Never what was it? Never given anyone a bad deal." Basically, I always come back to that too. Of like, whenever you're feeling down or otherwise, oh, it's just a performance art piece. Like in the movie, and it's like he's been very explicit about his goals, very explicit about winning, and over talked about how doesn't give people bad deals. So I don't know. I think it's far fetched to think in general. Again, nobody can control when you buy and hit the sell button, all that stuff. But in general, having the opportunity to get a good deal, I think qualifies. So that's what we're gonna see with PulseChain. That's what we want to see, that rocket ship go way up, and not look back anytime soon. But and hopefully in the next 12 to 18 months, just 2 more weeks, right? Just 2 more weeks. You never know.
I watched the movie, the highest of stakes, the other day, and you know what else is interesting? This is kind of sidetracked from what I was about to say a little bit, but um I googled finance movies to watch or something along these lines. Like it wasn't crypto related. It wasn't it was finance, right? Like it not I didn't specify anything like that. And I'm not signed into Google in case like they know, and they probably do know either way. That like I look at cryptos because probably creepy, but either way, when I was just kind of looking through some of the movies, they had the highest of stakes listed there, next to some other like the like Big Short or like Wolf of Wall Street or whatever else, right? Like right there. So I thought that was quite interesting. Like it looks like it's being recognized which is cool, right? And maybe Hexkins had like something to do with that as well. But yeah, it
That's
looks
good
like,
company.
yeah. Um, but also another thing I was gonna say about the movie was I gave it another watch, like the other week or so, um, and I don't know, it's interesting to watch it with like the prices where we are now, and I wonder how, because I think you watch that movie when the prices are down, and you'll get a different impression than if you watch that movie when the prices are like skyrocketing. Um, it's probably like just like the same thing as like you want to buy when it's green and you want to sell when it's red. Um, but I think people like they probably have different takeaways from that movie and stuff, because I think this was like my third time watching the highest of stakes. So um, it was interesting. Like definitely like we'll see what happens. I my understanding is like I think he got his house money back from the community. But yeah, I think it's interesting how they kind of had the dynamic with and the movie's kind of old news now. I don't really know why I'm talking about it, but it'll be interesting to see if there's a highest of stakes too, right? And I think there probably
Yeah.
will be like a part two to that movie. Um, and they did those final edits and stuff saying like, hey, yeah, PulseChain's out now. This is this and this is that. But I think that documentary is asking for like a part two. And well,
Yeah.
and I know why am I forgetting his name? The finance professor in the movie,
Yeah. Forgot his name too.
Lamont.
Lamont
Lamont.
Black. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think Lamont came around a little bit more relative to when that movie was filmed. So it'll be interesting, even if they have some of the same characters in there. There's I think like crypto moves fast, right? And it's probably like I think it'll be like an interesting part two to that. But
Yeah.
other than that, like yeah, I think the people who are still here, they've done the research, they've watched the thousands of hours, and I'm sure there's thousands of hours of Richard Hart content on his YouTube channel. Nobody sits there for thousands of hours providing value. Like he's not doing fluff. Like you watch a 6 hour stream and you're getting like more value than watching 60 hours or 600 hours of other content creators. Like he can point you in the right direction at like he's kind of like I think he's like a Warren Buffett in a way, um, with his skill sets. But yeah, it'll be I think it'll be interesting to kind of
Return to the
see.
King. Return to the Crypto King. That's maybe a
Yeah,
possible title of High Stakes Part Two. Return to the Crypto King. Got Richard with two crowns. Give him two crowns this time. DJ Crypto. Shout out to chat, by the way. I haven't probably won't take any questions today because we're about to wrap up here in a few minutes after we get some key stats with Kong. I'm telling you, I always wish we had more time with Kong too, because depending on how the day goes back and forth, he's always got a ton of valuable stuff to share. But anyways, hi chat. I can't say too much to you because do want to get through the stream. But shout out to DJ Cryptomatic, by the way. Funny enough, DJ Cryptomatic also recommended this mic, which is now broken. I don't know if you knew that, but it is news now. My mic is broken, and that's why I'm on AirPods right now. So who knows when I get fixed, but I tried DJ Cryptomatic. I really like the mic. It just stopped working. So I'm not sure why. Anyways, Crypto Calling, we got like 5 minutes left. You got any, like, what's the best data to leave us with? What do you think?
Here I'll pull up. I have a
Give
ton
us
of
the
stuff,
goods.
as you can see.
Yeah.
Maybe this. But if I want to talk about something, I'll gloss over this. Like we're in the buy zone, guys. Like so, pay attention. Like we're in the buy zone. But I think this might be one thing I wanna go over. But real quickly, I guess this is looking at long versus short. and maybe we can also just see the ratio up here, but it seems like I think the market's a bit uncertain right now what's going to happen. We're probably going to have to see some more things play out. I wish I had a Uniswap tab here, but either way, um, I think we're going to see some volatility. And I know Hans was posting some TA on Bitcoin. You know what I want to show? I want to show the order book. That would be ideal. But it's like, please, yeah, here we go. I was really hoping that wasn't the one thing I don't have open, but this is perfect. So, like I was saying, we might see some volatility, and it might not be in the direction that you're hoping for. I really like to look at the order books because it gives you an exact representation of exactly pretty much how much, like, what your asset is actually worth, right? Like, what are people bidding for it? What are people asking for it? How much are they doing so? Like, how much, like, volume? Like, right, what's the size? Like, is there only one Bitcoin sitting there, or is there 20,000 Bitcoin sitting at a price point? So that's what I like to look at. And that helps you gauge price points. And there's more, like, we could go way more in depth, but we're running out of time today. So, like, you can pair this up with, like, other metrics and stuff to see, like, there's basically, like, liquidity magnets, right? Like, and it happens in HEX too, where on the V3 liquidity, you can have price points that have more bid support or ask support than other price points. So it might, like, for example, it might be harder at 2 cents to go to 3 cents. Like, it might take more economic energy to do that than it does to go from 3 cents to 4 cents or something like that, or 3 cents to 5 cents. Like, even if it's a bigger gain, it might take less dollars to get there because of how the Uniswap V3 is positioned. Because you're literally buying tokens that are, like, essentially have a predetermined price, and you're buying them out of the pool. And as you're buying those, like, blocks, you're gonna get a slightly higher and higher and higher and higher price. And that's why, like, having more liquidity is good. It's because you have, like, more tokens to be available to purchase at, like, any given incremental price point. So that's kind of what we're looking at here. Like, all these little bars that you're seeing kind of, like, protrude from, like, the left to right side of the screen here. These are sort of like your order. I'll call them order blocks. These are, like, kind of like your chunk sizes. So you can see, like how much dollars, or how much Bitcoin, or I guess in this case it'd be Ethereum, or dollars or whatever, is sitting at any given price point. And then you can sort of I'm gonna speed run this, but you can gauge where price might go and where price might be attracted to. But you can actually see, and like I was saying, I wish we could go more in depth with it and sort of cover, like, the whole tracks. But this gives us a good gauge. But you can see, like, there's a lot more liquidity down here, and there's more to it than this. It's not just this, but there's a lot of liquidity kind of down here on Ethereum. And it kind of acts like a price magnet a little bit. Now, I'm not calling for $400 Ethereum, $600 Ethereum. I don't think it's going to $1,100. It could wick to, like, $1,300 or $1,400, but I don't think it would last there very long because, as you can see, there's not very much liquidity. But you might see a drop to $1,700. And if I wish I had the Uniswap, but one day we'll go in depth. But the Uniswap order, like, V3 sort of, like, liquidity blocks look pretty much exactly like this. Of course, it's not, like, 1-to-1 or anything like that, but usually the market makers, like, they're quite consistent. Like, they're not 1-to-1, but they're not completely, like, different, like, spreads, let's say. Anyways, more than likely what you might see with Ethereum is just it ranging between, like, 2,500 and 21 or 2,200 ish. Like, pretty much that could be a very likely scenario, is just you see it ranging. And there's more analysis that goes into this, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it go as low as $1,700. I don't think it'll accumulate down there for very long. If it does, it might just be a wick or something like that. But something like that is possible for Ethereum, and you can actually see to the upside. Like if people are calling for $10,000 Ethereum, I'm sorry to say, but nobody is looking to sell their Ethereum for $10,000 like in this order book, and on Uniswap as well. There's pretty much no liquidity up there, meaning that like there's no market maker looking to like place limit or like have their order like filled up there. At least in this point of time, things like this are they're subject to change because it's an order book, right? Like it's constantly changing, but where we are at this point in the market, like you might see, like it looks like the liquidity dries up, and it's pretty much the same thing on Uniswap at around $3,500, and then like $4,000. There's actually more liquidity, or there's more like order depth on Uniswap than on this order book, and I think this is Binance. Or I think it's actually a few different exchanges. You can see it's Binance, and I won't go through the rest of the exchanges. But go ahead.
I just want to say once you wrap up on this piece, I just wanted to do the last question and close out. We got one from Beyond. All Rectober or Bull Timber, Colin?
It's a crazy question, but it's probably like it's not looking too hot. Is what I'll say. Like it doesn't mean that you're not going to have like short term upwards volatility, but I don't think, and I'm kind of like split on the market. It's kind of like 50-50, and on shorter time, like on a long enough time frame, like I don't know if September itself is going to go down, but if you give it like 3 months, like Bitcoin, I wouldn't be surprised if it goes to 50, like below 50 to 40K, and potentially even lower to like, but 30K and up, like there's tons, like there's tons of support. Sorry,
I guess I did read that wrong. I was gonna say rec timber or bull. Sorry, rec. Yeah, rec. Oh, rec. How many is that? Rec timber. Is bull timber rec timber? Is that?
It might be October
September?
for. It might be. It's either both September or it's one's October and one's September.
Yeah. Anyways, I was like, am I reading that wrong? Okay. So are you on team survive till 2025?
Yeah, I'm on team. I'm on team like manage risk, survive till 2025. Yeah, I'm gonna be paying attention. Yeah, Rectember. There you go. Like I'm kind of split on like this. I wish I could show you. We kind of looked over it a little bit with the 24-hour long/short, but I'm a little bit split on that as well. I think though I'm probably like 50. I'm not saying like I'm 51% short, but like if I were to gauge it like that, probably 51% Rectember. But that doesn't mean we have an up. Like we could probably have an Uptober and stuff like that. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Certainly hope so. I mean, don't know what to say about the markets right now. But a lot of people got stakes out there. A lot of people are okay waiting, doing other stuff to not just like sitting on Twitter all day being mad that price hasn't mooned yet. So if you're able to get out of your own way in that sense, I know that's one way to put it. Is just, hey, didn't sign up to get rich quick. If it happened last cycle, then that was good timing. But it doesn't always have to be about timing. For me, I've been following RH since 2017, so it's seen some stuff, and I think the systems, especially the core coins, a few great ecosystem projects as well, they're set up to be very, very valuable. Will they happen or not? Will everything go to zero? Nobody knows all this stuff, but I don't know. That's PulseChain.com, everyone. PulseChain HEX.com. That's signed up for glory, and that's certainly what I hope we get.
I think that's a good wrap up. Yeah.
Sorry we didn't go an extra hour. I know we go an extra hour with a lot of your stats, and hopefully next time we'll have more time. I know I really appreciate you having all the data for us.
Yeah, yeah, definitely, man. I'm always happy. Like I said, recently, like I've been doing a lot more like trying to like build out systems a little bit for the bull market. Um, but yeah, I've got a lot of structured sort of data points to go over and talk about, and hopefully give some ideas out to the people, and just give them a better grasp of the market. But yeah, I
Yeah.
liked your roundup. Like Richard's always said, like it's up to life and chance, but these tokens, his tokens, they are designed for maximum appreciation, and that's the truth. So yeah,
Designed.
whether
I
it
can hear him
happens or
spelling
not,
out in the video.
yeah,
Designed. Did not
yeah,
make promises. Designed. That emphasis. No. Sorry. Anyways, Kong. At CryptoKong145. Got any other? You're on YouTube, Twitter.
yeah.
Yeah. That's where people can reach out to you.
Yeah. Yeah, if you guys have questions or if anything you want to go over, you can find me on Twitter. There's also my Pulse domain. You can search that one up. My links are attached to there as well. But yeah, make sure you try out some of RHMax's his project, right? The downloadable data. And because I think you will find use cases for it. Like once we went over a little bit on stream, but once you use it yourself and see how the data is formatted, I think you'll be pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. And if you're just joining or joined the last 30 minutes or so, just rewind the beginning. Did a full demo. Kong was brought it out, ran some scripts, showed us the output, talked about how they worked, all that stuff. So PulseChain downloadable data to put on downloadable DeFi. And again, a fun project. Hopefully, contribution hopefully helps community, with their data needs, and yeah, free open source public information, all that stuff too. All right, everyone, that's all we got for you today. Scivive and 5555. We are out.